Hey guys, SpawnDino here with a special edition of the Versus series. Honestly, I don't know how I managed to fit all three of these bad boys on the platform, but here we are. Today we have a three-way to determine the best mid-sized carnivorous theropod in the game. Today's contestants are the Allosaurus, the Carnotaurus, and the newest and hottest addition to the game, Ark Additions' own Ceratosaurus. Now, if you're here to find out if the Ceratosaurus is any good and if you should go and tame one, the short answer is absolutely yes. This is an amazing versatile mount, which I'm sure you will love. So go ahead and get yourself one. But just how good is this compared to the other mid-sized theropods in the game? As for the Megalosaurus and the Concavenator, yeah, I just felt the others would make more sense to compare with the Ceratosaurus. Maybe next time. For today's video, we have to change a bit the point system. First, we have a new category, Ease of Tame. And second, since we have 3 dinos now, the winner of a category will receive 2 points. Ties are still a thing though. But enough talking, let's get to business. Starting with creature design. First, the Carno. It's the smallest of the 3 and is equipped with a pretty badass pair of horns on his big head. However, his arms are nothing short of a joke. Plus, the way it moves is quite funky. But the one that pains me the most is the lack of a roar ability. Next we have the Ceratosaurus. This thing looks totally badass. Those spikes are awesome. And the way it moves, slides. There was a lot of attention put into details with this one. And as always, Ark Additions nailed it once again with an absolutely menacing roar, even though it's just for aesthetics. Admittedly, this is not the fairest comparison since the mother took a lot of liberties with this one, while the other two have a more realistic design. And lastly, we have the biggest of the 3, the Allosaurus. Purely thanks to its size and facial expression, I would say it looks more menacing than the Carno. The Allo has one of the oldest models in Ark, so its animations are not really the best. Technically, it has a roar ability when it's in a pack, but personally, I find it quite lackluster. Ceratosaurus 2 points, Allo 1, Carno 0. Next we have Ease of Tame. The Allo and the Carno are both classic knockout tames. Due to its size, the Allo needs more than double the trank ammo needed to knock out a Carno. Carnos are more common than Allos, which makes finding one with good levels easier. The last thing is that the Allo always spawns in a pack, and sometimes 2 of the Allos are bugged. This can result in you losing your desired tame, but even if you don't lose those 2, you still have to kill the other members of the pack in order to tame your desired Allo. The Ceratosaurus has a different and unique taming method. First, you need to kill a few to collect their spikes, and then craft a Hemoglobin elixir. After that, you will have to use this elixir on a tamed creature, and let the Cerato munch on it until it's drunk. Personally, I would recommend using a Stego, since it has natural damage reduction. It is possible that you will need more than 1 elixir for high-level Ceratos, and more than 1 tame. After that, you will begin the passive process of taming this guy. And at least on the island, the Cerato is pretty common. The Carno is no doubt the easiest to tame, but the Cerato is not that far behind, since you don't have to use trank ammo on them. However, due to Allos spawning in packs and not being that common on most maps, I have to give them 0 points. Next, we have speed. This is where things get quickly out of hand. First, we have the Allosaurus. The poor guy is really hindered by the reduction of movement speed post-tame, and that 250 base stamina surely doesn't help either. It gassed out pretty close to the finish, and scored 17.9 seconds. The Carno, on the other hand, with its more nimble body, managed to finish the track in 14 seconds, with 72 points stamina left. That 350 base stamina really came in clutch for the Carno. And then we get to the Cerato. This guy has 500 base stamina, double the amount the Allo has. They also gain momentum while running, and they smash to trees and rocks at full speed, similar to the Allosaurus. From a standing start, the Cerato needs only 8.5 seconds to finish the track, with 400 points of stamina left. However, if we enter the track at full speed, the Cerato reaches the finish line in 5 seconds. This guy basically obliterates the opposition. 2 points for him, 1 for the Carno, and none for the Allo. Next up, Tankiness. With only 420 base hit points and no special abilities in this regard, the Carno is already out of the race in this topic. The Allo though has 630 base hit points, which is very close to the Cerato's 650. But the Yellow's pack leader buff applies a 25% damage reduction for the alpha. The Cerato has its own ace up its sleeve. The secondary attack applies a debuff to the enemy that after a few seconds will heal the Cerato and all allied carnivores in a radius for a certain amount of health. This works especially well in a pack of Ceratos, but more on this later. I'll call this a tie between the Allo and the Cerato. Each get a point while the Carno gets none. Next we have damage. First we have the Carno. At level 1 the Carno deals 86 DPS with its primary attack. This attack comes with a 30% armor piercing ability, which really helps against high quality saddles. Its secondary attack can be spammed for the same DPS, but also applies a 5% bleed over 10 seconds, and comes with a very potent knockback. Another plus is its amazing stamina efficiency, allowing the Carno to easily chase its prey while attacking. The Allo has 98 DPS on its primary attack, due to a faster attack speed. For the pack leader, this turns into 147 DPS. Just like the Carno, the Allo has a secondary attack that applies a bleed damage, 5% over 10 seconds, and a speed debuff. But it's only available to the alpha of the pack. That means you cannot use this if you have a single Allo. And the last thing to keep in mind is that Allos consume more stamina when fighting compared to the Carno. This is especially bad given the already low stamina bar of the Allo. Lastly, we have the Ceratosaurus. With its primary, the Cerato deals 84 DPS. It's worthy to note here that, just like the Sarco, the Cerato can turn on the spot to attack. And just like the Carno, its stamina efficiency is very good. The secondary attack only deals 56 DPS, but it's vital to mix with the primary attack to apply its debuff, which heals nearby friendly carnivorous creatures. Lastly, when above 75% speed, the Cerato receives the charge secondary, which deals 262 on impact. Unfortunately, there is no bleed damage, so the Cerato lags a bit behind the other two in terms of DPS. But don't underestimate its fighting capabilities. Its bonuses are just not damage focused. With that being said, even though I love the Cerato, it gets 0 points for this round. Between the Carno and the Yellow, things are a lot closer. In packs, the Yellow has more damage potential. However, on its own, the Carno is better, thanks to its knockback and bleed combo. As you can see, it's pretty easy to time your attacks to keep even larger opponents away from you, which makes the most of the bleed ability. Both the Allo and the Carno get a point. Next we have special abilities. First, the Allo is known for its pack buff. In a pack of 3, the highest level Allo will receive the pack leader buff, gaining 50% damage bonus, 25 damage resistance, and the secondary attack, which applies the Nash effect, 5% bleed over 10 seconds, and the movement debuff. Multiple 3 packs of Allos combined will result in multiple alphas. The Carno comes with the 30% armor piercing on its main attack, and the 5% bleed over 10 seconds on its secondary, but with no slow effect. The Cerato has the ability to gain momentum while running, allowing him to move at great speeds and bulldoze through trees and rocks. Its second ability is called Envenomed, and it's a healing ability. It's triggered by the Cerato's secondary attack, or by enemies attacking your Ceratosaurus, since it's covered in venomous spikes. The debuff works in an interesting way. One Ceratosaurus has a cooldown before it can apply the debuff again on a creature. That means you will be able to only get 1 tick of healing, which usually is around 50 health. Pretty underwhelming, right? But let's say you have 3 Ceratos. After the first one applies the debuff, the other 2 can use their secondaries to extend the duration of the debuff, until the cooldown of the first Cerato wears off. This basically allows the debuff to be applied constantly, until either the target or the attackers die. And here's the interesting part. The healing increases with each healing tick, meaning that the longer the debuff lasts, the more powerful it gets. Here's an example of me taking on a level 600 Brontos with 3 Ceratos. Notice how the first heal gives us only 80 HP, while later it heals us for hundreds. And yes, it heals all friendly dinos, as long as they're carnivores. At the moment, I haven't tested this versus bosses, but if this works, I will make a video in which I will test the Cerato versus some bosses. For this category, the Cerato gets 2 points, the Allo 1, and the Carno 0. And lastly, we have utility. The Carno is an easy to tame early game tame, with good damage capabilities which can fill the role of a meat collector. Higher level imprinted ones can even take on things like rock golems or deathworms, thanks to their bleed damage. They have good speed and decent stamina, but slow stamina regeneration. Unfortunately, the lack of a jump makes them sometimes awkward to use as a day-to-day mount. Being able to use weapons while riding is certainly a plus. The Allo is more of a mid to late game dino, with boss fighting capabilities. It's good for taking down high health or high armor creatures such as the Titanosaur or the Reaper, thanks to its bleed. The bleed doesn't work on bosses, but thanks to their alpha boost and decent stats, they can fight lower difficulty bosses. As a travel mount, it's not ideal, since its power lies in the pack buff, and traveling with a pack is a pain in the ass. The Cerato, however, is one of the best land mounts for traveling. Between their amazing stamina, amazing weight, 550, amazing speed, the ability to smash through obstacles, and decent fighting capabilities, they really tick all the boxes for an amazing land travel mount. And there is even a possibility for them to be good at taking down bosses. For this one, everyone gets a point, since none of them are useless, but there are other dinos that sometimes overshadow them. Final score, Cerato 7, Allo 5, Carno 5. But as always, let me know in the comments if you disagree with me, and tell me what's your opinion on the new Ceratosaurus. My favorite thing about them is that they love to assert dominance by using their roar every time they kill something. Great touch by the modder. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and click the subscribe button. 98% of you are still not subscribed, and so I would really appreciate if you did. For you, it's just a click, but for me, it means a lot. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Spartacus out.